that was a nice cloud. Cloud like that means it's time, right?
Yeah, I guess
It's
so.
time to talk. I've had my inebriants, my accelerants and my inebriants. TNA, black tea and acid, and then you mix it with some sativa, and your head's spinning.
You're on Rainbow Road.
You are. You're, well, look, I'm wearing this new shirt, Dad Country, and it has the Tasmanian Devil on there.
And it has a lot of tea on there.
It has a lot of tea on here. Yeah. This is our friend Johnny Fritz. We just saw him play a show, and he was selling these tour exclusive T-shirts. And when I saw it had the Tasmanian Devil on there, I had to get it. I had to support my friend anyway.
You love Taz.
I think I do. It's like coming up when I was a kid, I was not a Taz Spaz at all. I know that. I know that about myself. I was more of a
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Or I'm Bart Simpson, who the hell are you? I was more that kind of the Taz Spaz type of Johnny was definitely more of a Taz Spaz type of kid, you could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it was a more innocent time, the late 80s, early 90s. Back then, if you could draw the Tasmanian Devil, you were set up. You were really set up. If you had a Tasmanian Devil tattoo, that really said something about you too. That put you in the bad boy club in life.
Yeah, now you gotta be worried with meme culture that you could really align yourself with an icon that could get co-opted and mean something totally different.
Well, that's why I'm glad that Taz isn't really a big part of the scene right now. He's still remained he's kept his purity, I think.
I think he's making a comeback though.
Is he?
But I'm not saying he's associated with anything.
He will be. This is why I'm worried about him, popping his head out.
I know, because someone's going to be like,
someone's going to be like,
claim him.
Oh yeah, you have a Tasmanian Devil tattoo? Do you know what that means? JD Vance or some shit? I don't even know. Just piss somebody off.
These Proud Boys ended up co-opting Hawaiian shirts or something.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
I love Hawaiian shirts.
My cousins, Jamie and Jesse, both of them, their whole wardrobe is Hawaiian shirts, and then all of a sudden they're associated with whatever Proud Boys or whatever they're called. Yeah, but the Tasmanian Devil's the man.
I don't really remember him as a character except just being a tornado of chaos, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so kids that were kind of like that.
Oh, I dated one in 9th grade.
You did? You dated a Taz Spaz?
Yeah, I didn't. He was really cute, but I didn't realize till a little bit later everyone his nickname was Special. And I was like, oh my god, I dated a spaz. I just thought he was cute and I didn't really realize at the time. Till retrospect, I was like, whoa, I dated a kid that everyone calls Special.
Wow.
But it's in 9th grade when you're dating someone, you're really just saying you date them rather than anything else. Maybe we held hands in a very exploring a sensual nature at some party, and that was the peak of our relationship.
Sensual hand holding in 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, what we're describing, our come up as people was much more innocent times.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't that seem crazy now that 9th graders would be exploring hand holding?
No, I think it is. I think
it's still like that.
Yeah, I mean from hanging out with your nieces and nephews, I'm they're not any more advanced than we were at their age.
No.
Maybe they have a more awareness of things, or things are different, but I feel there is an innocence of that teen age that you're just not, even if you're aware of naughty behavior, you're not ready for it, and you kind of know that.
Let me just make a little adjustment here so that people can.
And then once you're ready for it, you're like, when's it gonna happen for me?
Right.
And then once you find the person to do it with, you're like, wait, what even is this?
Was that your journey as a young woman?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I got my first fake girlfriend in 9th grade as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like I was so late to the party. Because
Yeah.
I think we were both best friends with people that were not late bloomers. And I think we would both describe ourselves as late bloomers.
Yeah. Well, I always liked being, I think, and your mom always says this about you, or our parents said it to us, be your age, enjoy being your age.
You have your whole rest of your life to
be an adult,
Yeah.
or you know. So I always like, yeah, I was very much my age at all ages, except this age. I'm reverting or something.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm reverting to sand. Yeah. I when I got my first fake girlfriend, I was like walking on sunshine.
Oh yeah.
We never even kissed.
Yeah. Right.
I think like we would just call each other. We saw each other like 5 times.
I had a lot of long distance boyfriends that, you know, we'd have like one magic encounter, and then they were my boyfriend, and then it was like phone calls. And at some point, I always had to break up with them because I was kind of one of these girls who was like, it's just, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. But for a little bit, it felt nice to be spoken for.
Totally.
But you wanted more. You wanted it all.
Yeah, want it all.
Yeah, you didn't even know what you wanted, but that wasn't it.
Feeling like you have to call someone at the end of the day, or feeling like someone should be calling you. I was like, I'm not into this.
What is it? What is talking on the phone to a young Taz Spaz in 9th grade even? What is that even? What are you saying to each other? You probably can't remember at all.
Yeah, well, I had predated. He was in my high school, so I didn't have to do like phone calls with him.
Oh, you could see him and just get it out of the way like
But really,
that.
you only saw him like once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I never see you, so I'm going to break up with you because this
Yeah.
isn't a real relationship.
Damn.
I was just like, I was dating boys and asking them to man up, and I didn't even know what it meant, but I was like, I need a man in this relationship.
You were approaching like 9th grade dating the way like a 34-year-old woman who has recently gotten out of a relationship approaches dating.
Yeah, totally.
Like, yeah, I'm not fucking around here.
Yeah. Like,
I'm not looking to fuck around. I'm not trying to fuck around. Like, if you're doing that little boy shit, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I need you to man up.
yeah, and I didn't even know what that would mean, but I knew they weren't, so I was like, this is not working for me.
Yeah, definitely. God, Cass, you must have been a goddamn handful.
No. I mean, no.
No.
No, you just like, you date imagine just dating some girl that you have a fake relationship with, and the girl at some point is like, yeah, I don't want to do this fake relationship anymore.
Yeah, we did that. It was such a relief. It felt like a relief.
Did she end it or did you end it? What happened?
I don't remember. I just remember it was like not a thing anymore. And it really helped because my best friend was dating her sister. So they broke up. So it was just like, we're never going to see each other again. Like, that's why we saw each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to kind of tack on to the end of that relationship and be free bird. And then now I could really just focus my life on Mario Kart.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really what I did.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I don't know if you knew this, but the best advice I ever saw, like, to young men was from Dan Savage, just being like, if you're like a teenager, don't even worry about chicks. Worry about becoming the man that a woman would want to date.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the same goes both ways.
Yeah, no, totally.
I always say that to people when they're struggling, maybe, in that department. I just say, hey, this isn't a commentary from me. I'm just saying you ask you if you would want to date you. And a lot of times it just leaves such a, like, you could see their visceral reaction. Almost like I'm them asking them to date me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, no. Yeah, and then right there, like, you could see it register, like, oh, there's work that needs to be done.
Well, when you and I met before I even was in the real world, like while I was still in college. But there was a moment where I was like out of college and like, should I figure out how to date? And I remember being on all these dating sites and everyone reads all these books and has all these like hobbies and personalities. And I was like, I didn't have any of that yet.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know how to fill out a dating app.
There's nothing to say.
There's nothing to say.
I'm just cute and new to the city.
Yeah.
What else? And really, like, if you just put up that, like, your inbox would be full. It doesn't matter.
I know, but I didn't want to date the guys who like had this. Not that I read a lot in college, but I was reading, papers and philosophy and all this stuff, and everyone had a long list of literature that I'm sure they lied about, but I just felt so intimidated. I was,
Yeah. Maybe they didn't lie.
Or maybe they didn't lie.
Like, there's people that like can tear through books in a way that I can if I love it, but I think my equivalent to that would be like movies.
Yeah, I needed a movie, man.
Yeah, totally.
I love movies.
And it's what we the funny thing is it's what we like initially bonded over.
Yeah.
Is our love for films and documentaries and Errol Morris specifically.
Yeah, luckily our intelligences match. Like they say that, a big thing you need to match with is your substances, but I think also
Well, I say that.
I no, it's recorded evidence that you to make a relationship work, you better drink the same.
Mm-hmm. Or not at all.
Or and not at all is drinking the same.
Yeah, exactly. But what I was going to say is this is kind of funny. It's like we initially bonded over this like weird niche, like almost hipster love of like documentary. And the movies, once we finally did have time together, the movies we would watch were so bad when I think back about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like it's like the movie was just an excuse for us to just be like laying together, getting stoned and like ordering the craziest food ever. But it's not like we were like we are now.
Now we're
very serious about like we're putting on a good one. It has to be fucking great.
Well, you watch so many bad ones and you're just like, I wish I could get that time back. You think that watching a bad movie is like indulgent and like, oh, this is like trashy and it'll be fun. And then you watch it and you're like, I don't feel good. I just feel bad. I don't feel like I gained any perspective on the human experience. I feel like I just watched bad writers jerk off who were overwrought by, industry execs saying this, and this beat need to happen, and we need this product placement, and,
Yeah. Yeah, and operate within our confines if you even want to be considered for these jobs. And you can feel it. You could feel it right out of the gate. So we try to avoid that.
Yeah. But now it feels good. Sometimes it feels like work to throw in a Criterion movie because you're like, do we really want to read subtitles tonight? Or do we really want to watch something from the 70s? And I have this like in the moment resistance, like, it feels like work, like it feels like homework. And then we watch it, I'm like, that not only was that the best movie ever, I feel so inspired and fulfilled and satiated on like multiple levels. And I don't know where in my mind older movies or foreign movies have this like, this is work,
Well, it literally is in a way. Do you ever hear about this? Like that when you're sitting in a theater watching a projection, it's 24 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
But a second is divided up so half the time you're sitting in the dark and you're watching stills.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind is actually filling in the rest. Your mind is creating an illusion that these stills are moving and that you're not just half the time sitting in the dark. So it's making up for all of this area that's not there. So it feels like work. And it also feels more engrossing. And it's why films are around 2 hours, because that's about how much of that you can handle. TV, on the other hand, and our phones, video, flickers on a whole different rate. You don't have to, your brain's not doing all that compensating and the filling in of the blanks. So it actually acts like an indulgent warm blanket that soothes you. So cinema is actually inherently more challenging than TV. There is like a difference. There is in just even the way that they're approached and shot, and at least the way that they used to be seen by people.
Well, that makes it make sense that the dopamine reward for watching cinema is higher than, the warm blanket of, whatever's on television or the series or whatever.
Well, it's why you can binge watch.
Mm-hmm.
We would never sit down and, I guess I've done this, but it's insane. But like to sit down and watch 3 or 4 movies in a row. But that amount of TV, like, forget about it.
Oh, yeah. When
ain't shit.
No, it's shit.
No, it is.
It's shit.
No,
I've had the days where I'm like, wake up and I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm going to watch TV. This is like 2011 or something. You're off, I don't know, some
fucking
country. You're off in some country.
Yeah.
And I like don't leave the couch all day. And, you stand up from the couch and you're like, I feel weak. It's so crazy how an object out of motion finding motion again is like impossible. Like I remember standing up and like, I'm sick, I'm weak.
Yeah.
And I didn't start the day like that. It's just like I literally put myself in like this sedentary state.
Negative momentum.
Yeah.
Stagnation.
Yeah, where you're just like, I guess I'll get up and go to the bathroom.
Oh my God. You're talking about being 23 years old too. Like this isn't like somebody with aches and pains and this and that.
No, and you feel what it does to you, and you're just like, I don't think I'll do that. I hope I don't spend my life doing that because that does not feel good. But you have to do it because you have to remember how bad certain indulgences feel to kind of wise up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't wise up, every one of them will get the best of you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not like fully like presenting as like addictive, destructive behavior, but getting the best of you in some way. The best meaning like an undistracted, unaddicted.
Well, it's theft. It's like theft of your time and energy and life force.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like a sedation.
If you allow it to be.
Yeah, sure.
Having this film club feels not that at all. Like, I watch these movies now knowing that we're all going to talk about them, so you're watching them on another level. I'm getting more out of it because I'm tapped into other people watching it with me that I know are all watching it this week, and we're all going to talk about it. So it actually kind of has a very invigorating effect on me, interestingly.
It's interesting how things that feel like work can be so intimidating. Like, even when it comes to Monday night, it's film club, and I'm like, oh, it says like, I'm tired. It's 8 p.m. Like, I'm tired. And then I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me to show up fully to film club. And maybe not every film club I've showed up fully to, but after film club, I'm like, I feel amazing. Like, I'm so glad I did that. But there's there is a hump in everything that we do that you kind of have to force yourself through and past to get the reward.
You know what I learned? Like when we used to, early on, when we used to do a lot more film festivals and like public speaking and stuff like that, I learned quickly that people, or at least you and I, have a gear that is like, it's there, and it's there for us no matter the circumstances. Because I've gone into situations where I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this at all. And it's almost like you tap into the audience, or you tap into the hungry souls, and you just pop into another gear. Like, for me, at least, even like work calls and stuff that are like scheduled too late. I'm like, oh my God, why are we doing this at 7 p.m.? Like, this is like, I'm so exhausted. What am I going to say? And we get on there and I'm like, that was the best thing I ever said. Like, there is we're both, I think, pretty good about tapping into whatever that is, like a rising to the occasion. Like, let's show up. But I think it has a lot to do with our people pleasing nature, and, feeling like we want to give whoever we're dealing with the best of us.
Well, it's also like a container. You're like, all right, I got to show up for the next like half hour, and you take everything from the next like 4 hours, and you're like, I'm gonna pour into this half hour.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I really just have, I guess it's admiration, but I feel like there's a better word for it. But people who have to operate, given their life circumstances, on like less sleep and show up, like, I'm an insane person when I don't sleep.
Yeah.
Like, it's not safe. I'm not safe to be around.
It pulls us into mania.
Yeah, very quickly.
I think the world operates on mania, though. So, like, I think that the true fucking people, down and dirty, getting shit done, keeping the world spinning round, like, they're tapping into a certain mania. Because I mean, everyone is underslept.
Once in a while, it can be a little euphoria. You're like, oh, this is...
Yeah, like if you properly do it. Like,
sometimes
if you properly miss a night of sleep, where it's just like, whoa, that was nothing. I got nothing last night.
Yeah, that happened to us last month.
It
was a no sleep night, and I was like, I'm not going to succumb to the worst day ever. So anything better than the worst day ever is like, wow, I just won. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I made it.
Yeah, I mean, our life is super, I mean, I guess objectively from the outside, like, low stakes. Like, we just got to take care of ourselves and each other. Like, that's it.
Yes, we do not have children.
Yeah, yeah.
That definitely raises the stakes.
But from the inside, the stakes couldn't feel higher. And I'll just tell you what kind of, what fuels my furnace is that feeling of like, no, the stakes couldn't be higher. These ideas are coming to me because they want to be respected. I have to do this. And now there's people that want to see it. And I opened my big mouth on a podcast and talked about this. And now people really want to see something or whatever.
Yeah, like you could really get into the like life, nothing matters, but life is a lot more fun when you make it matter and you say it matters and
yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I think it's a good thing for me because I think I bring that kind of vigor to the moment and whatever the moment may be, and like playing darts, for instance. You know, like I'm out at the bar and I'm having a good time, but when it's time to throw the darts, like literally everything else is whatever, but when it's literally time for me to throw those 3 darts, like there's nothing more important in the entire world. Why? How could there be? That's what I'm doing. You pick up what I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to pick an example of something that could seem really throwaway.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know anyone who's more devoted to the moment than you are.
Yeah, but I mean,
when I'm left to my own devices, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
Me neither.
You seem to always know what's going on. You always seem to know what to do, how to do it.
Because my muse is present. You only know me with you present.
Yeah.
You only know that reflection of me. You don't know the version of me that's like the version of you that sits there just eating Parmesan cheese for 2 years and never leaving your apartment. You don't like, there's a version of that in me, I think. Somebody just doesn't know what to do.
I guess I went away the other weekend and you had to take care of yourself. How'd that go?
It didn't go well. It didn't go well.
It didn't go well.
Well, I mean, it went well in terms of like, I ate and I exercised and I meditated and I didn't succumb to porn and masturbation, like, which is great, which is really nice for you. For me too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think. I just wasn't in the best space. That's all. There's outside pressures, you know, and you leave and then I hear my parents going on about whatever, and it's just all of a sudden like, what's my life? When you're around, I'm just like, oh, it's great. You're the best. Everything's fine. I'm so grateful. And then you're not there, and I'm like, whoa, like,
what have I done?
It just hits. It just hit a little bit different, and some plans like kind of fell through, and I didn't, kind of pick myself and dust myself off to get out. So I was just like, just take this time to just, keep to myself. So maybe I did take good care of myself.
You watched a scary movie. I
watched The Vanishing, 1988 French film.
So what is that? That's whose number one scary movie is that?
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
So I had to check it out, and it was awesome. But like that's a good thing to do while you're not there, because I didn't know what kind of terrifying it was going to be. And I'll take one for the team and figure it out.
Do you think I should see it?
I think you'd love this movie, but I already spoiled it for you. And
while you were watching it, I was like, I was high on mushrooms. So
Yeah.
I was like, my boy's about to watch a scary movie.
You're hundreds of miles away, high on mushrooms, making sure I'm going to be okay.
I was like, all right, let me see what he's about to get into, because he doesn't like scary movies, and I want to make sure he's okay. And so I read about it, and I was like, this is dark. And then I talked to you after, and you were like, fine. And I was like, how are you fine? I feel like you should be more upset.
Yeah, because I was watching it as like a study as opposed to like, let me
feel it.
I felt it, but I went into it as like a study, and the filmmaking is so on point that for me it draws attention to itself. Like I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how easy breezy this movie is. I know something is going to happen. I have no idea what it is, but I know because Kubrick said this is the craziest ending of a movie I've ever seen, scariest thing. I was like, I know it's building to something, but the way they slow burned it out was smooth, baby.
Well, I just feel like when I read the description, because it's basically like a man's girlfriend goes missing mysteriously.
They're on a road trip. They stop at a just a regular rest stop like we have a million times. He pumps the gas while she goes in to grab a soda, and she just never comes out. That's like the setup of the movie. It's not even a spoiler.
No, it's not. And I just feel I was like, I think this might be one of Sean's worst fears. It's definitely my first.
I wouldn't have even ever tapped into this fear.
Yeah.
And it actually did make me aware of certain things.
Well, we like being around each other, but we're also keeping an eye on each other.
Yeah.
Not like in a possessive like tabs, but like, you're my beloved, and you got to be okay, and I need to know where you're at, and like, you know.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you're there to keep loving me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. This movie really. It focuses on the guy's losing his mind. The husband that's left behind is just like literally just like
as you would, anyone would, even if it wasn't your girlfriend, if someone you knew just disappeared, you'd be like, what? It just happened.
It's haunting. And so I watched that. It helped me learn a thing or two. But you know what else I watched? Amadeus. I've never seen that movie.
Amadeus. Why do I say, is that a song?
Yeah, it was a #1 hit song.
Was it in the movie?
No, it has nothing to do with the movie. The movie's actually way better than I thought this movie would be.
I think I've seen this movie.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
It's like Mozart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a story of Mozart.
It's cool.
It's very cool.
Movie.
It's a real popcorn classic.
Yeah.
But like done so well, and like, clearly money was spent on it, and
period piece.
Yeah, but like not too self-serious. Like I don't even think they bothered with the accents really. Like,
I kind of like that when they're just like, whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't care. I mean that would be distracting for some people. But yeah, I didn't particularly care. I got very swept up in it, and I thought it was cool. It was kind of like a fictionalized thing, but there's, I think, a lot of elements of truth in it. Basically they depict Mozart as like a young dipshit. Just a total goofball. Like his laugh is cringe. And he's a Taz Spaz. He's a fucking he is a Taz Spaz. I'm not even kidding, Cass. That's what this movie is.
I believe it.
And it's not what I thought I was going into. I thought it was going to be like, watching Boy Genius, like get all these accolades and like this and that. And that's happening, but it's showing like the real guy is like totally uncouth in every way. He is like, he's not fit for polite society, but everyone fucking loves him. Like everyone loves him. He was the OG Taz Spaz. Because he's a talented motherfucker that just like blew everybody out of the water. All his contemporaries. Completely blew them away. And there's some beautiful scenes in there that depict that. But highly recommend both those movies.
While you were watching that, I was with my girlfriends listening to Beethoven. I don't know, whatever the one that they're like is the most healing, transformational composition of his. We were just headed on repeat. Yeah. High on mushrooms, being like,
damn.
Whoa, this is really special. With friends who are like seeing colors and I mean, look, I had so many aha moments and realizations that's not really my experience anymore when I take mushrooms. Maybe it will be again, but it was really nice to be with people who maybe are on their like 6th time tripping rather than their 60th time tripping, Yeah,
it's really nice. It's probably really nice for them too.
Yeah, and being able to be in the safe container of having like all these like realizations and downloads, and then I get to kind of feed off of their downloads, and they're like writing stuff, and I'm just in the chaos of the cosmic soup being like, oh yeah.
Just ladling out little servings of weird mishmash of words.
Yeah. We were breaking into song. That was probably my favorite part of the trip. Because we were just laughing and just singing everything that we were saying, which just felt like so girl time. I was like, this is so girl time.
You girls are having more girl time, silly little girl time than you probably did when you all initially met in 9th grade. Like, I know you guys have always been very silly and laughing group of people, but something about you guys have been really good about doing your like once a season girls time, take some mushrooms.
Well, it feels
And
really...
it's keeping you guys fun and light and silly and happy.
Yeah, well, we all have this, like, common ground that is infinite
Yeah.
to, like, tap into and explore, and to kind of do the kind of drugs together that brings you into the moment and tells you how sacred the moment is, and then you're doing this with your friends, and it just really lends itself to, like, positive relationships with the people in your life who you're doing this stuff with.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, a lot of spaciousness for us to be wherever we're at,
Mm-hmm.
and to hold space for each other and love each other, and have these realizations together, and it's just the best. That's the best life of my lives. I'm very psyched about it.
It's great too. And and what's crazy is how many times you've done this, and they probably don't even know how qualified you are to handle things going off the rails.
Oh no,
they've never even tapped into like how good you are.
They've never needed that from me.
No,
which is cool, because I think also because we're going into it very much as peers. Like, they never saw me as a having it more figured out, which I'm not saying I do, but
yeah,
they wouldn't. They know they can come to me the way I come to them.
Yeah.
Like, I lose my shit and go to them. They lose their shit and come to me. Whatever. We're here for each other. That's what friends are. But they don't miss a beat.
It's crazy to me.
I'm like, I was the one. I took a gram less than them because I was just not in the space to go as hard.
Yeah.
And it was funny. We all, like, lied down on the come up with, like, our eye masks, and I'm like, they're, like, shaking and just
white knuckling.
Literally, you just, like, click it into manual.
Yeah.
And then they're telling me, "Oh, it was such a lovely time." I'm like, "Wow, you guys are the best."
Oh, I wish I could tap into that on mushroom. Or at the beginning, I always do. I get there, but I'm the guy, like, when everybody's, like, sitting there with their tea, like, completely wiped out because they had the best time on the come up. I'm like, all right, here I am for the first time. How are you guys doing? And that's when to me in my life that I think I've thought of and said the funniest things ever.
For me, it's on 2 taps of acid.
Holy shit.
On the peak after 2 tabs of acid, I'm like, I can chief joints, nothing, I'm invincible.
Nothing can stop you, yeah.
Just like,
you just got a whole joint to the dome, and you're just, like, the funniest you've ever been.
Yeah, just, like, laughing so hard. I just, so many wonderful moments are so deeply imprinted in my bones of just deep joy and laughter.
Yeah, what that actually feels like. And I think that's the gift of psychedelics, too, is kind of like to reveal the territory a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if you want to begin to explore and map it out over time, like, here's the territory. Yeah, here's what joy feels like.
You can embrace your intentional Taz Spaz.
Oh yeah, totally.
So why are you resonating with the Tasmanian devil? Like, I feel like I think
I'm just coping with feelings that were never quite this intense, and, like, that's cool. I mean, it's cool. Like, to me, it represents something that needs a little taming. And I think some people would look at me or be around me and be like, you got it together, and I'm like, no, you there. That's in there.
Yeah, but you don't outwardly express as, like, a Taz Spaz ever.
No, but imagine having that in you and coming off chill.
Like, how much work you're doing every minute of every day.
Well, it does. It takes. Well, weed helps me. Weed helps me.
Yeah, I also think
I'm more of like a Marvin the Martian.
Yeah.
Like, if I was gonna be rocking a shirt back in the day, like, that had to do with that, like, he'd be my man.
I also think if we were to think about Taz Spaz, he's not the oldest brother of 3 younger sisters.
No, Taz Spaz is like
the middle child, the youngest, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
You can totally figure out. We were talking to a new friend the other night about astrology, and, like, we're getting to know each other, so we're, like, telling each other about our lives and our backgrounds and stuff, and then we were like, probably more than astrology, it's like, where do you fall in your family unit? You know, do you have siblings? Like, are you the oldest? Are you the youngest? Like, what's that dynamic like? Because
just even also beyond that, just be like, what's your role in your family, and just see how someone initially responds to that will be an infinitely revealing thing. if someone asked me that, I know I'd probably immediately be like, they think I'm cool, but I'm like a really easy guy to lay a heavy trip on.
Yeah, I was reading to you not too long ago the different roles. Like Alcoholics Anonymous has all these roles, and it can apply
Al-Anon.
Yes, Al-Anon, which is like the family support system sister to Alcoholics Anonymous, right?
Also a 12-step program.
Yeah, for coping with having an addict in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But, they have this thing where they talk about the different roles that people within the family structure can fall into, and you've always seen yourself as
Scapegoat.
the scapegoat. But there was another one. There's like the clown or something.
I'm that too.
And I was like, I read the clown too. I think it's called the clown. I'm not positive. I was like, you're this one too.
Mm-hmm.
You're maybe a hybrid. You really you wear the scapegoat, but I'm like, there is this other one that I think you're really, really resonates, at least for me, with you.
Hey, you'd probably know better than me.
Yeah.
You could see it somewhat as an outsider, but I don't know. I tend to not need that stuff.
Identifiers or labels.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone listening could like add more to this on the Discord. But like, is it a generational thing? Like, has that become more of the priority of younger generations that have been raised more by algorithms and the internet and the labeling of things?
Well, the quiz culture of like which Warner's Brother cartoon are you? Which Myers-Briggs? Which this? It really can help in like the development, especially in your 20s. I was so obsessed with all that stuff. Like, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, what makes sense for me?
I think it really has served my life to not be asking those questions too much.
Yeah,
really. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, we were having a conversation the other day kind of about, because every once in a while I'll be like, Sean, you could go to therapy. Not like I'm saying you need it, but it could help or something.
Yeah, of course.
And you were just like, you kind of went on a rant about therapy, and I'm not saying you want to go on this rant now, and I think anyone who were to hear your rant, they would understand that you're coming from the person who has an opinion because you don't do that. It's kind of like, when I'm like, oh, we're not having kids to our friends who have kids, they're like, well, you just don't understand. You sound like our friend Johnny had the best example. He's like, you guys talking to kids sounds like how I probably sound to you talking about ayahuasca. You tell me, oh, it's this amazing psychedelic experience and I get so much awareness, and I'm like,
he's like, I just see puke and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the way you guys look at parenthood, but it's all that stuff. And he's like, you guys think ayahuasca is like some beautiful thing. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, you do got us there.
You
definitely got us there. But
there's puke and shit no matter where you go.
Well, and look, Cass, when I was saying this, you can't pigeonhole me. Don't do this, because here's what I'll say. I'll let the audience in on how much of a twisted fucker you are. When I said it, I was like, hey, can I just flow on something that we don't bring up on the podcast? Because
I'm sorry.
I know. Well, because I said it because I was like, it feels like ripe territory, but I ain't trying to judge anybody or step on anyone's toes at all. But basically, what and I again, these are concepts that are like coming to me in the moment, so I'm just like, let me hear how this sounds. But basically, what I was saying is, I think that sometimes people can get over therapized. I think that we have a culture that has come to fetishize that in response to like, I guess, toxic masculinity or the patriarchy or whatever. I think we have a culture now that like fetishizes the therapized man. And I think it's fucking rad. But I think what we're really going for is like a softening. And what happens, I think, sometimes in therapy with certain personalities is part of the problem is the taking seriously of the thoughts, is the bundling them into narratives, is the like putting weightiness on any of it. And I think different people get different things out of therapy. but I've seen firsthand, been through it myself, going into a therapist and they ain't trying to cure me of anything. They're trying to keep me there. And so it's just this drawing out of stuff that I'm like, well, I don't want to take that seriously. I think I've learned to deal with that. I'm doing my life. I'm happy. So I think that for certain type of personality, the overthinker, if you think you suffer from truly overthinking, and the overthinking has bundled with your insecurities and formed narratives, and it feels like depression and unhappiness, I think therapy would really help, but I think that there's levels to it, and there's levels to getting it too much, like too much, where you're taking yourself too seriously, you're putting your power in someone else's hands, they're not trying to cure you, and I think there's ways to nip these things in the bud that don't just like kind of like endlessly cost you $200 a week.
I think you're more into like a somatic approach.
I think the overthinker needs to be in hot yoga. And I think a guy like me who spends a lot of time in hot yoga could probably stand to go and talk to someone in therapy. But I have you.
Yeah.
And I have this.
Yeah.
And
so you do therapy.
Yeah, talking has never really been my hang up, but like overthinking isn't my hang up.
No.
The bundled feelings of PTSD that have accumulated that get triggered is my problem. So you know what I need to be doing? Sweating. I need to be sweating. So those feelings when they come up don't turn into me finger pointing and externalizing and making it, oh no, it's because you said this or did that. It's because so-and-so left us. It's because they were mean. It's because they didn't, fuck all that. I need to sweat. I need to move my body. I need to just get this out, because I think what a lot of these things are, like depression and anxiety, it's like it's an excess of your creative energy. It's like you're a very creative person, but you're channeling it into like the most self-destructive, narcissistic things, which is just like nasty narratives about yourself that no one else cares or believes in. And so I think that there's ways of ridding your body of that without going through a process where you end up taking all that stuff way, way, way too seriously. And I don't know, I'm just so sick of like, no offense to anybody, but just like literally every fucking person I know being like, well, you know what my therapist said? Yeah, I bet you they said something. Cool. I've been out there in the fucking weeds, motherfucker.
I've been white knuckling this shit without
You want to know how it is?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's a cute thing. Your little therapist said, like I don't know. Look, look, they're great. They're great at what they do. I'm just saying.
You're a be your own shaman kind of person.
I'm a be your own shaman type of person, because those lessons stick with you.
Well, I think
those things really stick with you.
We have friends who are like work in this world, They work in this world, so they're like,
that's
they believe
everyone.
in it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So,
they work in the world of talk therapy.
Yeah, working with people and see the value of it, and I thought it was so interesting because they're in a newer relationship and they're like doing this sooner so that bigger issue and then I think I don't judge it. I'm just like, man, I wonder if Sean and you have to go your own path, but we've gone through so much shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, it's not even a worthwhile question to ask, like, would it have been better if we had done therapy, or could we avoided some of that stuff?
Here's what therapy would have invited, I feel like, is a bunch of stuff that your generation and below loves. Labels.
Okay.
Sean is this and we're this, and it fits into that dynamic, and of course it's like this, and it's just take all the fucking mystique and surprise. And it's like, this is why when you go to watch a movie trailer now, there's a little trailer before the trailer starts, because we've destroyed people's fucking attention span and they just want to know what things are. What is this? What are you? What am I? Here's my label. Here's the line in the sand. You're offending me. It's fucking crazy. So I feel like getting into therapy early on in our thing would have either ended this relationship or at the very least sucked all the magic out of it.
Well, you're so in love with the moment that you'd be like, I don't want to spend the moment thinking about the moment. I just want to be.
No, and putting a bunch of labels on things, like, what is that? What do you need training wheels through life? Oh, what's going to happen next? And what is this called? And what does this mean? And it's like, I don't fucking personally give a fuck. It's cool. What I find cool is when somebody's like, I'm like, damn, that was fucking crazy. I can't believe this, that, and the other thing happened. It's like, well, Saturn was doing this and that. I'm like, oh, like that. I find like, I think that stuff's cool.
We all have to figure out.
But I don't like using it to try to over forecast my life or anything like that. Like,
oh no, I can't.
Like I really, really. Even if I chose everything that's going to happen before I even took form, I really want to feel like there's some sort of like spontaneous unfolding of things.
You want to feel like you have free will.
I want to feel caught in the moment and like riding the crest of a wave that I don't know if it's getting bigger or if it's about to break or if I'm going to get tossed off or if I'm going to drown. Like, I like that.
You want to feel something.
And I think people therapize things out of their life that are the things that are meant to keep you alive and awake and connected to your body, sending off the signals of depression. Oh shit, I better fucking do something. I better fucking quit my job. It ain't worth being depressed. It ain't worth getting down and out. It ain't worth watching my love light start to dim.
Or maybe you'd be depressed even if you quit your job, and maybe there's nothing to do but witness the depression and let it move through you.
But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's kind of what I love about our relationship is that, like, I don't have to pay you to bear witness, and I don't have to make it some other person's problem whether I'm paying them or not.
Yeah, but there is a karmic exchange that even happens within us of like me venting and you having to receive it, or you venting and me having to receive it. And there is like, when you do vent to someone, you are like externalizing the shit that you have inside of you and not internally transmuting it. And there is a process that I'm not even judging it. It is our process, but like there is a cost,
Pays the cost to be the boss.
Sometimes when you're going real hard in the car, I just open the window. I'm like, I feel like.
That's a good idea.
I just always, if I ever feel like you're really intense, you're like, I'm sorry, I just have to vent, and you're like venting, and I'm like, okay, let me just open the window so it doesn't like, so it can like move in and out of the car.
Totally. And if I haven't been intense in a while, Cass will definitely poke and prod.
So you get intense.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think it's something like that you ultimately dig about me.
Yes, I do love your passion. I love it because it makes me feel alive, and
that's when I know I'm not doing good, is when I can't tap into that about anything.
Feeling alive?
Passion.
Oh, yeah.
Intensity. Something that could even awaken that. When I'm getting like, I don't care energy, it's not good.
Well, we were talking about this the other day too, how I'm a pretty gullible person, but you've always been kind of a fucker, in the sense of.
Beyond. Yeah.
Yeah, just like saying shit where you don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I was like, oh, I was like that in college because I was like, it was a response to just being bored.
Yeah.
Wanting to keep things interesting.
Yeah.
And
it works. It's cool and it's
it
funny.
It helps mix it up.
But I think what kind of trying to banish that from my life by being with someone like you, it's invited a level of sincerity in that I think has served me.
Yeah, I can dish it out, but I can't take it. I have a hard time. I'm a very literal person.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me something, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow that reality thread.
Yeah. I mean, you can be a little bit of a Taz Spaz of like of conversation. You're polite, but like you'll bring stuff up that I'm like, woo, only Cass could do that. Only Cass could steer this conversation over there or bring that up or just say you're an alcoholic to a person while we're having beers with them.
Oh my God.
Or
I don't think she appreciated that.
No, nobody would.
No one would.
No one would. But like,
But when you're telling me all these stories, I'll just look at you in the face and be like, I think you're an alcoholic.
yeah. But like, I don't know. You can be psychedelic in that way. Like,
Well,
but you'll also, do the opposite. Like, hey, you want to fuck me, right? Like, we can make this easy. Like, you'll make it easy.
I say the thing.
You'll say the thing, and it's so refreshing that there's someone that'll say the thing.
Well, it's so much more comfortable because then we can just like live in the space where the thing got said.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we can just like move forward, not thinking about whether the thing is a thing, and we can just know whether it is and like move forward.
Yeah.
Unabashedly.
Yeah, totally.
I don't like being in the space of like, what is someone thinking and what does this mean?
No, we were out. Like, we were hanging out with my boy Johnny Fritsch, Dad Country, Johnny Corndog, and we went out to dinner and we were meeting his new love. They've been together for 3 years, but we hadn't met her. And like, they were like, oh, like they're looking at each other like, you cool to talk about this? Like, we're just like, so what's going on with that? And what's going on with that? And it's like, you're like, oh, whoa, you forget that there's like some sensitivities around subject matter with people, and shit.
Well, they're good partners.
Fine.
They're fine. They're good partners because what a good partner does, and we do this, is like you ask consent of your partner before you spill the beans on something that's like that you're sharing. Both of you.
Yeah.
You and I gave each other like a blank check forever ago. I don't even know, or
yeah, totally.
Just like, okay.
I was trying to tell this to Nicole last weekend from our last podcast, Nicole from the Bridge. I was just like, I wish I could just impart on you how unoffended we are. Like, there's nothing like, because like she clearly wanted to like ask us some questions about like our throuple life, because that's when she remembers us from. That's when she was listening to our podcast, and she was being so polite, and I was just like, we don't care. I don't know how to get this across. Like, there's nothing. We don't have a line that you could step on. And if we, they're like, because that's what we want. That's what I expect from you.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting from me.
Give it all to me.
Yeah.
Tell me the deepest, darkest shit. Like, let's get in it. Let's say it all. Let's experience it all. Let's be it all.
Yes. Can you see how in polite society that might come off as a little Taz Spaz?
Yes, I am a Taz Spaz. I know I am. I really am.
But it's cool. That's cool because it's revealing of the truth. It's the Taz Spaz is someone that comes and trashes the temple. And if you could trash the temple, was there even a temple to begin with?
Yeah, thank you, Griff, for telling us about that.
Shout out to Griff for telling us that little parable. But I think you know what I'm getting at.
No,
and don't take me too seriously when I talk about therapy. I could really probably stand to do it. I just get resentful about like the ongoing nature.
Well, and also you're not
of
doing
a
it.
Thing you have to pay that much for.
Yeah, and also and I think if anyone's been listening to our podcast long enough, it's like we'll have a very passionate thing about something, and then like 2 years later we'll be like, all right, well, we're in therapy.
Of course, because
like it's whatever works for us and whatever works in whatever moment. I'd rather there be no rules of like, oh, well, I identify as someone who doesn't need therapy or go to therapy. Like, that's just as ridiculous.
No. Well, and I know one thing from the data points of my life is like when I embrace an extreme about something, it just always ends up balancing with having it in the other extreme. I hated the Grateful Dead. I hated them. I thought it was hilarious to turn it on Sirius XM to make fun of it. And now it's my
Cass,
favorite.
Listen to this garbage.
I'm like, look at it. What the fuck? And now I love it. And like so many things, like even like think about our loves. Like we've thrice thrupled. Like that was as hot and passionate and crazy. And we don't talk to those people at all. Like, like it tends to be like that. Or like I always made fun of our friend Hillary because we would go on the road and she was a vegetarian, and I'm like, God, you're such a pain in the ass. Why are you a vegetarian? Who cares? And then I took mushrooms and I was like, I can't eat our animal friends ever again. And I became that thing that I was like, really, like, it's so weird. Maybe this isn't the case for everyone, but I get that. I get the like.
That's how you.
I take something on in an extreme like aversion, and then it comes for me in an extreme embracing.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what's kind of like cool to know now at this age is like I can spout off and be like, what the fuck, therapy can fuck a motherfucker up sometimes by like teaching them that their thoughts matter more than they do. Like, come on, get in your body, but like the truth is there's balance there.
Oh, yeah.
And that if I didn't have you, how much, and like, look, nobody should treat their partner like their therapist. I really don't recommend that. But if I didn't have you and specifically the way you are.
It's okay,
and
you pay me.
I do. I pay the price.
You pay the price in lots of ways.
Definitely. Yeah. I look. That's why I said don't bring this up on the podcast.
I don't.
Precisely why.
I didn't bring it up
because I was like, this feels like such an extreme thing to say out loud. That there is a possibility that somebody could do too much therapy. It feels crazy. It feels Scientologist of me. And I understand that it's wrong. And the karmic balance is coming for me.
And you're sorry.
And I am sorry to whoever's listening.
I just think it's funny because I think everyone's smart enough to realize where you're coming from, because I think all our imperfections, and that's like kind of what I've learned about doing the podcast. I used to be worried about how I came off or if I seem a certain way, and I'm like, oh, I need to trust people to be smart enough to see me as whole as I am, and that like my hypocrisies are just like on the surface. So it's not really for me to even
and we're embracing of them.
It's not even for me to caveat. It's for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm revealing myself just like you as a hypocritical person or whatever kind of person, the trapped in the human experience of.
Well, I think what's really fun for our audience and our community, at least a lot of times the way I feel, is like they listen to us, but they're so much more advanced.
Oh, yeah.
So they get to hear, like, people just playing in the mud.
Yeah, I was about to say messing in the mud.
Just playing around in the mud.
Yeah, being total Taz Spaz.
Totally. And I think, because I learned so much from our community.
Yeah.
On the daily.
Yes.
And it's incredible. Like I don't know, I could go into it. Join our community. Patreon.com/Church of Chill. There's such fun things about to happen with the Church of Chill.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Prayers getting answered. We could talk more about it. We're gonna hop over and do part 2 of this on Patreon.com/Church of Chill.
Yes.
But yes, we're teasing a really cool story that I have about prayers being answered. How about that?
I love it.
Cool. We'll see you on the other side.
Guys.
We love y'all. Peace, love, and magic.